Welcome to Carol and Gary's See America Tour. Hello everyone. Well, as I said in our last video a week ago, Carol, Jasper, and I stopped briefly at an abandoned ghost town called Goldfield while following the Apache Trail, but decided against spending more time there because we had Jasper with us. So this week we left Jasper in the motorhome and drove back out to Goldfield. The settlement of Goldfield got its start in 1892 when very rich high-grade ore was found in several mines in the area. A town soon sprung up, and on October 7, 1893, Goldfield got a post office. Finding gold, coupled with the legend of the Lost Dutchman mine, which had been circulating for years, brought new miners to the area, and in no time the town boasted 3 saloons, a boarding house, a general store, a brewery, blacksmith shop, butcher shop, and a school. For 5 years the town boomed, growing to a population of 1,500. But like other gold camps, when the vein of gold started to play out and the grade of the ore dropped, the town found itself quickly dying. The miners moved on, leading the post office to close on November 2nd, 1898. The town of Goldfield soon became a ghost town, although some prospectors stayed in the area, sure to find the elusive Lost Dutchman mine, or perhaps a new vein of gold. A few miners tried to reopen existing mines, hoping to find new gold, but all attempts were unsuccessful until a man named George Young, who was the acting governor of the Arizona Territory, arrived in the first decade of the 20th century. You got to remember from our Tucson video that Arizona would not become a state until February 14, 1912. George Young brought new mining methods and equipment to recover the gold ore. The town began to slowly come back to life. A second post office was established on June 8, 1921, and the new town was called Youngsburg. However, the town's rebirth would only last 5 years. The post office was discontinued on October 30th, 1926, and the town died once again. In 1966, Bob Schuess made his first trip to the Superstition Mountains and instantly fell in love with the area. Bob's love of the Superstition Mountains started out being a hunt for gold, but soon turned into a love of history. Bob had become close friends with many old-time prospectors. He identified himself with these men and listened intently to their stories. They had knowledge. They were walking history. These men had a tremendous effect on Bob's life. They proved that there was nothing that couldn't be done if you put your mind to it. They could literally move mountains and did. Bob moved to Mesa, Arizona in 1970 and soon began to dream of owning his own ghost town. He had heard of the old site of Goldfield, but upon inspection found little left other than a few foundations and rambling shacks. He and his wife then located another 5-acre site that was once the location of the Goldfield Mill and decided to rebuild the old town. Purchasing the old mill site in 1984, they first reconstructed an underground mining tunnel and opened for business in 1988. Today, Goldfield is filled with authentic-looking buildings and the only narrow-gauge railroad in operation in Arizona. Numerous shops and buildings, including a small church, brothel, bakery, a jail, livery stable, and more, have been reconstructed. People walk the street in period costumes. Horseback and wagon rides and sometimes authentic gunfights entertain the crowd. Carol and I took the 30-minute mine tour. This was a recreated mine, not an actual mine. I don't think we went more than 20 feet below ground, if that. But our guide explained how miners used dynamite to break up the rocks so that the usable ore could be removed. Fuses were used to connect up to 21 pieces of dynamite for more blasting power. After the mine tour, we walked up the street to see a small church, then visited the mining museum. The mining museum had hundreds of exhibits dealing with early mining. We saw a large piece of pyrite, which is also known as fool's gold, on display. There were several rocks that contained the outline of fish and other animals. They even had a rock that was labeled as a meteorite. While walking around the museum, we saw an early metal detector that was used to detect minerals in the ground. The museum contained a small section about the Lost Dutchman mine, but I'll talk to you more about that later. After the mining museum, we walked through the Mammoth Steakhouse and Saloon. I don't know what the purpose of this was, but there were hundreds of cowboy boots nailed to the ceiling in the steakhouse. After the steakhouse, we walked around looking at other shops where you could pay to mine for gold, buy local arts and crafts items, or have your picture taken in a western setting. I mentioned the Lost Dutchman mine earlier. The Lost Dutchman mine is perhaps the most famous mine in the country, despite the fact that no one knows where it is. It is told that a German prospector named Jacob Walsh had a rich gold mine deep in the rugged mountains east of Apache Junction, Arizona. The stories tell of Jacob's periodic trips into the Superstition Mountains and returning to Phoenix with quantities of gold ore. Records show that Jacob Walsh did exist and that he died in Phoenix on October 25, 1891, but from here details are fuzzy. During our recent visit to the San Xavier Mission south of Tucson, we learned that Mexico had gained its independence from Spain in 1821, so there are links to Spain and Mexico in the southwest United States around this time. Explorers were mining gold in the area and sending it back to Spain, but the Apache Indians did not like outsiders. It is generally believed that the Peralta family, in Arizona from Mexico to search for gold, and fearing an Apache Indian attack, abandoned their gold mine in the Superstition Mountains in 1845. Some believe that Jacob Walsh found this hidden gold mine. Walsh died in 1891, but no information other than fake maps created by Walsh to mislead others has ever been found. But people continue searching for the Lost Dutchman mine even today. No landmark in the history of the Southwest has generated so many interesting tales of lost gold and resulted in more deaths than Superstition Mountain. In 2009, Denver bellhop Jesse Capon, obsessed with finding the Lost Dutchman gold mine, took a month-long vacation into the Superstition Mountains in search of that legendary treasure. It was 3 years before a search and rescue team located Capon's skeletal remains at the bottom of a 180-foot cliff. And with that, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Carol and I will be eating Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow with many of the people here in the park. If you like this video but have not yet subscribed, please do so to be notified of future videos, and feel free to share with your friends. Thanks for watching.